Hi, I am Igone, a researcher in TECHNALIA. In the Clever Cities project, we are co-leading the work stream on monitoring in deep collaboration with the City of London. In the part of this presentation, I will outline the key aspects to defining a natural-based solution monitoring strategy or plan in the cities. This will be followed by Nicola, who will present London's monitoring approach in the Clever City project. Why is monitoring important? Having information about the effectiveness of nature-based solutions and their associated co-benefits is very relevant to promote their implementation, especially against traditional or grey solutions. This effectiveness assessment through monitoring will inform planning decisions and may contribute to engage citizens and communities around urban nature. In the context of an urban regeneration project, such as Clever Cities, the related challenges not only deals with climate resilience, but includes a more comprehensive approach taking into consideration all societal challenges. As can be seen in the slide, citizens are in the core of this monitoring strategy, from their well-being to their security, considering also social cohesion, environmental justice, and economic opportunities. Here, I am presenting the timeline of monitoring in the Clever Cities project and how it relates to the development of the interventions. As you can see, some preparatory activities should be done before starting with the monitoring itself. This includes the definition of the local monitoring plans, the selection and provision of the technical solutions for monitoring, and the deployment of sensors and applying the different tools and metrics. It should be highlighted that to be able to draw conclusions of the impact of NBS interventions, two monitoring phases must be considered: the pre-greening monitoring that takes place before the intervention and the post-monitoring that takes place after the interventions have been implemented. The comparison of the results of both phases will be key for the impact assessment of the NBS intervention. To put this monitoring strategy into practice, a local monitoring plan should be developed that provides answers to the following questions. Which indicators should be collected? In which areas or specific spots should the data be gathered? Which methods of collection should be used? What is the timeline required to deliver on the key performance indicator, and which stakeholders and organizations will be responsible for each of the KPIs? This slide, the different possible options for the data gathering are presented. As I mentioned, in urban regeneration projects, the social variables are a key element. In that sense, the collection of citizens' perception and behavior is very relevant, and the observations, interviews, and the questionnaires are methods that can be applied to capture this. In the Clever Cities project, we compile a questionnaire as part of the deliverable 4.3 that can be customized to each city or intervention goals. Finally, it must be said that in the context of loss of biodiversity that we are facing at global level, the links between nature-based solutions and biodiversity should be mentioned. There are two-way benefits that at urban level can be optimized through the selection of more biodiverse nature-based solutions in the greenery of the city, and with the improvement of the connectivity to contribute to create green and blue corridors. In this case, the collection methods will be different than the quantitative ones used in the social impact assessment. The Singapore Index on Cities Biodiversity is a very relevant reference to be considered for the monitoring of the biodiversity. Indicators are the presence of some species, how the ecosystem services are provided, and other variables related with the governance and management of biodiversity are also included. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Hello to everyone. I'm Nicola Murphy-Ecans, and I've been working in regeneration and environment programme and policy at the Greater London Authority for about 10 years. Today I'll be doing a bit of a deep dive into what Igone talked about, but looking at my project area of Thamesmead. First, I will give you an outline of the area, then discuss the baseline activities. This will be followed by a look at how we use theory of change to inform our monitoring plan, and I will conclude with a short look at some sample indicators and methods. The Clever Cities project in London is centred in Thamesmead estate in southeast London, which is the subject of a multi-million-pound regeneration programme by Peabody, one of the UK's major providers of social housing and community programmes. The programme is a 30-year plan, including repair of existing homes, improvement of public spaces, building of new homes, and enhancement and management of parks and waterways. The Clever Cities programme is supporting the local community to contribute to the programme through the co-design and management of nature-based solutions that will address the environmental challenges of climate change and biodiversity loss, alongside urban regeneration challenges of health and other social inequalities that are concentrated in these parts of the South Thamesmead estate. When considering which elements of Thamesmead we would want to address through our Clever Cities interventions and capture the impact by our monitoring plan, baseline data was gathered to better understand where the priority issues are. The Greater London Authority's Green Infrastructure Focus Map was consulted to look at elements beyond access to open space, such as health and income poverty. This was done by spatially layering over multiple data sets. The Green Infrastructure Focus Map is a tool and evidence base to help London's decision makers identify where green infrastructure improvements and investments might be best targeted and what kind of interventions might be most useful for the needs of a specific area. Other baseline work was carried out to understand how people feel about where they live, revealing issues relating to fear of crime, overt drug dealing, feeling unsafe at night, feeling excluded from decision making. However, it must be noted that although there were issues raised, there were also a lot of positive feelings about Thamesmead, such as feeling proud of the many natural and quiet spaces in the area. We recognised through our work that it was important to address the concerns and strengthen the positives. It was a challenge creating a monitoring plan for a co-design project that had yet to be designed. One of the ways we addressed this was to use the theory of change model to create an outcome framework. Using this template, we worked through it to help reveal what we wanted to achieve, starting with reality, what is the major issue we want to address, and then the impact we wanted to create. In this case, improved quality of life. We then worked from right to left, looking at outcomes, first long-term, then short-term, what we might need to put in place to support this, and the activities that we would need to do to better understand the situation. The approach had several benefits, as it helped partners align our ambitions, revealed where there might be gaps, and better understood what resources might be required at that time frame to achieve our designed impacts. It was also important to understand the assumptions, so everybody was extremely clear of what we were all considering when we were considering what we were trying to do. The output of this exercise was to create an outcome framework and mapped across indicators that best reflect where we can really capture the impact of Clever. This is still an ongoing process as our design work has yet to conclude. This framework did give us enough of a steer to create a working and live research plan and areas of inquiry. This helped us to create an investigative baseline action plan to take themes to further with stakeholders and explore via our research methods. These are some of our KPIs and early baseline findings. How residents in South Thamesmead perceive it to be a safe place. Note, we broke it down by gender as women tend to feel more unsafe in these spaces. How often people spend time outdoors and how residents feel about their neighbourhoods. Our draft indicators were drawn from Clever Partners, the new nature-based solution indicator handbook, and sister projects such as Connecting Nature. We are now in the process of prioritising based on focusing our resources and energies on areas that yield the most value without repeating proven areas of research. For example, we know that people spending time outdoors leads to better health outcomes. We want to find out if our interventions lead to more people spending time outdoors, what works and what doesn't. It should be noted that regeneration projects are multifaceted with multiple external factors contributing to change. As such, the issue of attribution is one that we grapple with. Our methodology therefore relies on quite a bit of qualitative data collection through surveys, interviews, and focus groups. These are some of the tools we've been using. Clever survey, undertaking 150 residents' opinions, looking at aspects such as health and well-being and satisfaction of place. Mapping conversations on site to get ideas and trace how decisions were influenced. Observation data of our project area. And Green Pass modelling, looking at how to help target nature-based solutions in areas that will yield the most benefit, taking into account aspects such as sun and wind direction. Clever not only focused on co-design, but also on co-monitoring. One of the ways we try to hit multiple outcomes with our Clever resources is the use of community researchers. 4 local residents who were recruited, employed, and trained to be researchers. They have been part of the Clever research team for a year, undertaking data collection, example flood mapping, and gathering insights from local residents on the issues that they face. As the project has developed, it has become apparent that individual urban challenges cannot be considered in isolation and cannot be addressed by particular nature-based solutions per se. It is the total package of nature-based solutions as an integral part of public realm improvements and the co-design process which shapes them. The ambition is that this engenders a sense of common purpose and a commitment to improve the quality of local environment for the benefit of the local community, while also contributing to wider social and environmental objectives. Thank you very much.